Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the Ministry of Kings and Priests. The subject that we're trying to continue on is the sons of God. All right. So last time, I stopped at chapter um, chapter is Isaiah chapter 39, verse 4 to 7. Right. So we're going to talk about the third meeting that God had with his sons, right? That's being recorded in the Bible, okay? So now the third one that we have is in Psalm 82, right? It's Psalm chapter 82. We're going to read it. There's a lot of, I've been discussed that with a friend of mine, with things like, that chapter was referring to everybody that, that's on earth, who's following Jehovah. No. We're going to read those verses, one by one, and try to get the details of those verses to see if it's if it's talking about everybody that we know in the world. Okay, no, it wasn't talking about human being. It was talking about divine being. Okay, it's Psalm 82, right? We're gonna read. God has taken his place in the divine council. First off, he said God has taken his place in the divine council. Council. Sorry. So divine council cannot be human. Human is not divine. Okay? We don't use divine for human being. Okay? So use divine for something that comes from above, right? In the midst of the gods, again, in the midst of the gods, he holds judgment. In the midst of the God, he is Jehovah, holds judgment. This is Jehovah speaking. He's asking a question to his sons. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? He said, in order for you to change, this is what you need to do. In verse 3, give justice to the weak and the fatherless, maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk about the darkness. All the foundation of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods. That's Jehovah speaking again. I said, you are gods, sons of the Most High. All of you. Nevertheless, like men, you shall die and fall like any prince. Then the author of the psalm says, O God, judge the earth. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all the nations. Does this psalm talks about any human being here? No. That was the meeting between God and the one that went crazy, the one that the sons that's like that was in rebellion. He talks to them. He said, there's a chance for you guys, okay? You should come back and teach the nation justice, right? Not telling them, to fight against each other, to kill each other. You teach them to let the guilty go, okay? As long as it's in their favor or your favor. That's what you're teaching them. Those you're not supposed to do that. While you let the poor being unjustly mistreated, that you're not supposed to do that. So because of that, because of those reasons, because you're not choosing righteousness, right? I'm gonna let you die like men. I'm gonna kill you like men. That's why one day when the judgment of come, even those angels, that's Paul says, like reserved in the terrorists, they will be killed. those falling angels, those sons of God that that went rogue, or that no longer obey God, that's rebel against God. Okay, let's continue. In Daniel chapter 4, verse 13 to through 17, this is like the fourth basically meeting that we kind of could say a meeting with God, between God and his sons again, right? But it doesn't mention God, but we know it mentioned the watchers, that they had some kind of meeting, and because of that meeting, they deducted that Nebuchadnezzar would go crazy because he thinks he's a god, all right? Uh, Daniel chapter 4, verse 13 to 17. We read, I saw in the vision of my head while on my bed, and there was a watcher. This is not a name again. They call them watchers. They call them angels. They call them men. They call them seven lampstand. Lampstand. They call them seven spirit. Okay, these are the names that they call the sons of God throughout the Bible. Okay, now in the book of Daniel, they call them watchers. So it's not the first time they've been called watchers. In the book of Enoch also they've been called watchers. Okay, and I saw in the vision of my head while in my bed, and there was a watcher. That's Nebuchadnezzar talking, the Holy One. He calls it Holy One. So which means it's established, a difference between the watchers. There are some who are like not holy, and there are some who are holy. But the one that he saw was the Holy One. Okay, was the Holy One, and coming down from heaven, he cried aloud and said thus, chop down the tree and cut it off its branches, strip off his leaves and scattered in his fruit. Let the beast get out from under it, and the bird of the and the birds from its branch. Nevertheless, leaves the stump and roots on the earth, bound with bands of iron and bronze, and in the tender grass in the field, let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let him gaze with the beast and out on the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from that of a man. Let him be given a heart of a beast, and let it 7 times. Again, remember that. Let 7 times, right, pass over him. And this decision is by the decree of the watchers, which means they have a meeting. That's what you have, the fourth meeting. This decision is by the watchers. Remember, he saw one watcher coming down. Now, the decision was made by the watchers, right? Because Nebuchadnezzar think it was God himself. And in the sentence by the word of the Holy One, right? In order that the living may know that the Most High rules in the kingdoms of men, and give it to whoever he will, and set over it the lowest of the men. So the reason why Nebuchadnezzar gonna lose his mind, go crazy, is because he refuses like to accept God as the Most High, and never stop trying to become God himself, right? Remember what he did? He built up a statue in one of his province, and want people to come and worship the statue. By worshiping the statue, which means you're worshiping Nebuchadnezzar. That's craziness, right? So for that reason, right, he was taught a lesson that make him lose his mind for 7 years. So those people who try to tell you, trying to compare the prophecies of Daniel in terms of, for instance, 1260 days and stuff like that. They said it's 760 years. No, that's not true at all. When God wants you to take a prophecy or a day for a year, He tells you. So when if He doesn't say it, right, you don't take it. You don't take it a day for a year, because it does that rule doesn't apply for every prophecies. That's why people were having a hard time understanding Daniel, to a point where they tell you Yeshua gonna come a certain date, right? And he never showed, right? So that's why, because mankind trying to understand the gospel based on their own rules, right, in which they always fail, right? In that verse, it just show you, if that was the case, then when he said 7 times means 7 years, right? So Nebuchadnezzar will have to spend 7 times 65, 260 years, right? In by 7, right? So which means how long Nebuchadnezzar would live. How come you can choose whatever you want as to be a day for a year, and that situation is a prophecy also? How come you didn't choose that one also as a day for a year? Okay, so which means like we have to rethink again, right? So we're gonna study Daniel together. We're gonna find out what I'm saying, like if it's true or not. Okay, but in that verse, the point I wanted to make sure that you guys understand also is the watcher, and the watchers that Nebuchadnezzar saw, the holy ones, which means the sons of God again is being portrayed here as as the subject that we're talking about is the sons of God, and the sons of God is being showing you again in this verse. All right, in Daniel chapter 4 verse 23 also we read, all right, and in as much as the king saw the watcher, the holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, chop down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump of the root of the earth, bound it with the iron and the bronze and the tender grass of the field. Let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let it and let him gaze with the beasts of the field till the seventh time and pass over it. This is the this is in the this is the interpretation, O king, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which has come upon my Lord the King. Okay, again, Daniel right now is trying to give Nebuchadnezzar the meaning of the dream. Okay, he tells you, like, this is the decree. Even Daniel recognized the watchers, the sons of God. Okay, this is the decree of the Holy One, the watcher. Okay, and it's come from also the Most High. So the Most High wants you to change your way. Okay, so change your way so you can so this thing will happen to you. That's what Daniel. That was the advice Daniel was giving to Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, Daniel, as we know it, was approved by God and to understand those the prophecies. Okay, of Daniel, and some of the prophecy of also that concern the Messiah. Okay, in the 70 weeks, right? Prophecies. So Daniel, if these guys was not God basically. Okay, remember Daniel did refuse to bow down, and his friends will refuse to bow down in front of the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, so which I mean, why would Daniel recognize the watchers as God Himself, right? As the sons of God. So we need again to rethink, and when we start seeing the subject the way it's supposed to be as the sons of God, and Daniel make more sense, and the Jacob, when he wrestled with God, makes more sense. The Abraham, when he worshiped God, those three guys, it makes more sense, because every time we read that, since we know those people were supposed to worship one God, so how come they were worshiping other men or other gods? Okay, so what does that mean? So therefore, nowadays, because we are approaching in the end very soon, right? So God is trying to He promised us the truth will come out in the book of Daniel, and then we know we will embrace it. Those who are supposed to, I'm hoping that those who listen, of you that's listening to this to the broadcast right now, you will understand what I'm trying to say, right? If you guys have any question, and I already put my phone number in some of the videos, or also in my email address also in there, right? So you can email me your question, or even phone me if you have to. Okay, my number, right, is 347-405-4107. 347-405-4107. The email address is kingandpriest70@gmail.com. kingandpriest70@gmail.com. All right. 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 All right And Daniel 10 is still in the line of sons of God. Okay, Daniel 10 verse 6. We read, his body was like the barrel, right? His face like the appearance of lightning, and his eyes like a torch of fire. His arm and feet like the a burning brass, right? In color, and the sound of his voice like the voice of multitude. That was Daniel, right? Describing one of the sons of God, how he saw it, how he saw him, basically. Daniel 10 verse 11. And he said to me, O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand the word of that I speak into you, and stand up, for I have now been sent to you. While he was speaking the word to me, I stood in trembling. All right. Again, that was Daniel's conversation with one of the sons of God. All right. Now, Daniel chapter 10, verse 13. Okay, we know that verse. Even myself, when I was reading it before I understand, the sons of God's subject, right? I thought like it was referring to a prince, or a regular prince, a man, right? Prince, but that's not the case. Let's just read it and see. Daniel chapter 10, verse 13. We read, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief of prince, came to help me, for I had been left alone there with the king of Persia. Right? So now, automatically, since you mentioned the king of Persia, right? We think like, whoa, it might be a human being, right? Can a human being really withstand in a one man? I mean, an angel of God. So we just saw like one angel of God destroy, okay, 185,000 men. Can really a man withstand an angel of God? Really, one of the sons of God? No. The prince that is referring to right now is one of the other sons of God that control, that part of the world at that time, So therefore, like that's why the battle was going between two gods, two sons of gods. Okay. Now in Daniel 11 verse 5, okay, we also read, also the king of south shall become strong as well as one of these prince. Again, I always think like it was referring to human being, but when you look closer, it was referring like to the gods that's gonna fight with other gods, like the sons of God. It's between war between the sons of God, the one that was say faithful, and the ones that that's rebel against God. Okay, so also the king of the south shall become strong, and as well as one of the prince, and he shall gain power over him and have dominion, and dominion shall be a great dominion. All right. So again, these are like in a standoff between the sons of God. Daniel 11 verse 5. Also, the king of the... No, we read that before. Sorry. It's 35, 11 verse 35. And some of those understanding shall fall, and refine them, purifying them, and make them white and make them white until the time of the end, because it is still for an appointed time. Again, God is telling us like we gonna when we come to the end, okay, we're gonna our eyes will be open. The Israelites, right? I'm not saying like all black, where we all our eyes will be open, even though we are Israelites, really. Most of us are, Yeshua said, only a few will find a way. Okay, the way that leads to life is narrow. Okay, only a few will find it. So those of you who want to be among the few, okay, will understand what I'm trying to tell you. Will understand that we need to go back to Torah, to the instruction that gave us. Okay, we understand that we need to embrace our roots, which is Hebrew roots. So I'm from Haiti, all right, and but my story did not start with Haitian history. No, my story started all the way from Israel. So we were stripped of our identity. So and then now they teaching us like other things, giving us like white Jesus and all that stuff. But no, Yeshua was not white. Yeshua was black like us. Okay, so it's not a question of color. No, it's not what I'm pushing. No, it's not that. But it's a question of the truth, right? So we are descendant, of Abraham, Jacob, Isaac and Jacob, right? So we are the children of the promise, right? But if we come back to God, but even when our eyes are open, we need to go get our brothers, the white men that they are, they're dividing us, so they can conquer, right? So we are our brothers, because like Noah was the first white man, basically, right? And it was our great grandfather. Okay, so therefore, no, we all brothers, we all related. Okay, so God, if John saw a great multitude, with all nation, all colors. Okay, it doesn't matter. So it's mankind that put colors among us. Is that thing was invented in the 1500s? Okay, just so they can conquer and divide, and destroy. Okay, so to control. So now our eyes are being open. We're not gonna be divided. So if a white brother wants to come in and be part of that ministry, welcome. If a black brother will come and be part of the ministry, welcome. If a Chinese brother, will come, or wherever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you are, wherever you come from, going to be part of the ministry, yes, we can be brothers, right? That's because we are brothers and sisters, cousin, and all that stuff. Okay, there's no difference between black, white, or those nonsense. We all have the same blood type. Okay, so basically, if it's not A, it's B or C, whatever, right? But it's because we are related. Okay, we are human race. So there's no race among us. All right, I hope you understand that. Now, but the truth needs to be said, okay? Because Yeshua, according to the book of Revelation in Daniel also, Yeshua, is black, all right? But it doesn't mean anything. In Daniel chapter 11, verse 36 to 40, we read also, then the king shall do according to his own will, and he shall exalt it and magnify himself above every god. Okay, shall speak blasphemies against the God of God. Okay, and shall prosper against the God of gods. Okay, so which means we know there are other gods, right? Where they come from? So they come from the Almighty, the Most High. The Most High will give them the power, to teach men, to bring mankind to them. But some of them decided to destroy mankind, to pervert mankind, and that's what we have in this big problem in our hand right now. And God gonna destroy those destroyers. Those who doesn't want to repent and come back to His laws to become the king and priest, kingdom of king and priest that He was trying to build, right? And then those who don't want to come, so they're going to be destroyed and then and go to the lake of fire when Yeshua come. So right now, those of you who don't want to go to that lake of fire, I invite you, to take a look at this subject, and then in the long run, we're going to see when we start studying Daniel and Revelation, this will come handy. By understanding this subject, you will see how important it was, for you to understand this subject, and it will help you understand Daniel and Revelation better. All right. And now in verse 36, and speak blasphemy against the gods of God, and it shall prosper, and until the wrath of the has been accomplished. For what has been determined shall be done. He shall regard neither the gods of the father, nor desire of woman, nor regard of any gods. Okay, for he shall exalt himself above them all. But in their place he shall honor a god of a fortress, and a god which his father did not know. He shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stone and pleasant things. Thus he shall act against the stranger, the strongest fortress, with a foreign god, which he shall acknowledge and advance his glory. This is Daniel 11, talking about the prophecy that will, that will come very soon. Basically, it's talking about the gods again, the sons of God, between war between the sons of God again. I mean, it will sound like a Greek mythology, but far from it. Okay, so what I'm trying to focus your attention on right now is the fact that those things was mentioned in the Bible, never explained to us right before. Now we have the ability to understand it, by digging more in the subject of the sons of God. All right. Now, in Daniel 12 chapter, and the 12th chapter, verse 5, we read, "Then I, Daniel, looked, and there stood two others, one in the river of the bank, and the other in the river of the bank." So Daniel saw two angels, right? Or two messengers or two watchers. They were again sons of God. Okay? In Daniel chapter 12, verse 6 to chapter 12, verse 6 to 13, we read also. And someone said to them, to the man clothed in linen, who was above the water of the stream, "How long shall it be until the end of this wonder?" And I heard the man clothed in the linen, who was above the water in the stream, and he raised his right hand and his left hand towards heaven, and swore by him who live forever, that he would be for a time and a half a time. Again, it's talking about 3.5 years. Okay, so which a lot of people took like that 3.5 year, literally said like it means like it's more than like it's a day for a year for a day. No, that's not what I'm saying in there. So it says literal 3.5 years in here, right? And that when the shadowing of the power of the holy people come to an end, all these things would be finished. And I heard, but I did not understand. Then I said, "Oh my Lord, what shall it be, the outcome of these things?" He said, "Go away, Daniel, for the words are shut off until and sealed until the time of the end. Many shall purify themselves and may purify themselves and make themselves white and be refined. But the wicked shall act wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But those who are wise shall understand. And from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away to the is taken away, and the abomination of that makes it desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed he who wait. Sorry. Blessed he who wait and arrive to the 1,335 days. But go away until the end. Go your way, Go your way till the end, and you shall rest and shall stand in your allotted place at the end of the day. Now, again, we see the number 1,290 days. Okay, that's when a lot of people saying like this is mean like 100 and, and 1,290 years. So we have another instance where it said that 2,000. It's mentioned in Daniel chapter 7 also, um, a number of days or that will pass, right? But it's not like a day for a year in Daniel. It's literal days, or like 3.5 years, okay? And we see men is trying to change it and tell you like it means like 2.5 a day for a year. So even though we had it a day for a year, they make the calculation, and some of them like fell on 1844, right? And the thing did not happen, and we still have those teaching out there, right? Saying like Daniel is still like a literal uh, a day for a year, right? Based on Ezekiel. No, it's not, and that's why they still like keep making the same mistakes, and they cannot understand the prophecies. Okay, so when we get to that point, where we're going to be studying Daniel, we go into deeper explanation towards that. But the point I was trying to make also, it is like Daniel received all this vision and all this instruction, and the angels, or the sons of God, one of the sons of God came and to help him understand it. Okay, so again, we see throughout the Bible how the sons of God were sent as a ministering spirit, okay, to help mankind understand what God was trying to say, or what God was trying to teach man. All right. So we're gonna stop here for now again, because I think we reach at least in almost 30 minutes. Right. Remember, we cannot go beyond like 30 minutes, because I don't think YouTube would allow me to download more than that. Right. To upload more than that. So therefore, I'm gonna stop here and finish next time. Next time we'll touch Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 11 to 19. So we'll get more explanation about the sons of God. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, the Spirit of God, one of the Spirit of God, which is like of the one of the seven angels that was sent to the seven churches in Laodicea, right, in Asia Minor. So they're still here on earth, to guide us, to protect, and to show us the truth. And hopefully, you get to meet one of them through spirit. But in order for them to one of them to dwell in your temple, you have to clean up your temple. Stop eating, unclean food, and go back to the instruction God gave us, in the beginning. Because Yeshua said, "I did not come to destroy the law and the prophet, right? I come not to destroy, but to fulfill." As long as heaven and earth exist, right, there would not be a iota or no a letter that would come out of the law until all is fulfilled. So I invite you, brothers and sisters, to go back to the law, and then to have the Spirit of God clean our temple, so the Spirit of God can dwell in us. May God bless you. Thank you for your time.